Hey, welcome back to the Disney Plus Everyday Challenge. Today we have Twas the Night. Yes, it's Christmas in August. Um, Honestly, yeah, it's annoying to say that, yeah, we're going to watch a Christmas movie in the middle of the summer, but actually, this helps prepare us for December, which is coming very soon. Um, it's the thing is that it would be kind of bad if all the Christmas movies all showed up in December. You can't really expect the algorithm to just randomly select just Christmas movies in December. So hey, I'm getting what I'm getting, and I got a nice surprise out of this one. This one was actually a really nice, um, something I didn't expect. Bryan Cranston is the star of this film, even though he's okay. He's the main character. His name is Nick. He is not Santa, even though he's dressed like him right there. He has a beard. This is during the time when he was on Malcolm in the Middle. And technically, the most famous person in this was Josh Zuckerman, who plays Danny, his nephew. And Josh Zuckerman had played a young Doctor Evil in Goldmember in the sequel, the Austin Powers sequel. So yeah, that might have been the biggest name on the cast list here. But at this point, this is well before Breaking Bad that we all know Bryan Cranston from. Bryan Cranston's been doing character work and voiceover stuff for decades. He was I think he was Elaine's dentist or something back on Seinfeld. He's nothing. He's not new to the acting game, but Hal was kind of his breakout role on Fox on Malcolm in the Middle, playing the dad, and it's a big comedy role, and he's like a live action Homer Simpson in many ways. But we know him as more of the dramatic actor from Breaking Bad, and he's really good. Even in a throwaway Disney Channel movie like this, yes, it's you want to assume that it's just a throwaway movie, and it for the most part it doesn't really break new ground. The story is more interesting. This is not a Tim Allen Santa Claus clone. This is about family, Danny and his sister and his little brother. Danny is starting to grow up to be like his Uncle Nick. He's running scams here and there. He's bilking his little brother out of his money just so he can make a profit. His naive little brother, who's like 5 or something, 4 or 5, I don't know, but he's bilking his little brother out of it, and he's certainly on the naughty list. But Nick is even worse. He looks up to Nick like crazy. Nick is just the most coolest, most awesome uncle in the world who's got it all together. When we see Nick, he's tied to a chair being berated by 2 nerdy guys who only shout their lines. If there was ever a situation where somebody is eating like the scenery with no hands, just face down and eating scenery, it's these 2 guys who are yelling every single line at Bryan Cranston. And Bryan's playing his very nervous, jittery self, much like Hal is when he's under pressure. But there is also a weird, I know it sounds Hollywood or whatever to even, and I'm no actor, and I'm not even like, I don't know acting like most people who are in the business, but Bryan does have a certain subtlety to his performance that isn't necessary, even in a film, especially in a film like this. There's a point later on where you know what? I have to establish something first, then I'll get to that, and I'll prove my point. But yeah, he's in over his head. He runs scams on so many people. It just keeps getting him deeper and deeper in debt. And he has a laptop he's named Lappy that he uses to hack things and throw viruses at people. And another side thing, he is the special effects for the operating system on computers. I love watching this in any type of show. You have to understand, they can't, unless they have a deal with Apple or Microsoft usually, most TV shows have to make up their own. They have actually a visual effects people who create their own operating system that looks like something people would use in the real world, but cannot look exactly like Windows or Mac. So in this situation, they did not have any such sponsorship, so they make really goofy interfaces, and there's still a drag and drop to the garbage can, which I'm sure somebody's probably tried to sue them, but it is Disney, so they have that going for them. The computer interfaces are just so silly in this thing. It's really goofy. Anyway, he does all sorts of things, and when he eventually escapes these guys, disguises as Santa, and then goes to hide out at his brother's place, where he gets to meet up with his niece and 2 nephews for the first time in a while. He gets to spend Christmas Eve with them because the parents have to go out. They're both doctors, and there's a reindeer flu going around, which is named so because apparently it affects humans and reindeer. So yeah, that plays into the plot, believe it or not. But so yeah, he's when Nick is, the kids are in bed, Nick decides to get on his computer and start doing more scams, when somehow the guys that held him hostage earlier show up on a video screen on his computer, like, hey, we found you. Like, were they just sitting in front of their computer all this time waiting for him to log on so they can, and they have their faces right up against the camera so they can scream at him like they do every line? So that's a bit absurd. But so in order to get them out of his hair, he throws a virus at them that affects their computer and pretty much every computer within 50 miles, which he just sort of, drinks his tea like, I'm not good, Yeah, he's not a good guy. He's not really a good guy at all. So what this does, though, is leads us into the plot where Santa, who doesn't have reindeer flying his sleigh because of the reindeer flu connection, his onboard digital systems end up getting conked out, and he crash lands on top of their house where Nick is. He escapes the sled, gets inside. He has, by the way, Santa is a gadget head. He has tools that he uses to shrink presents and grow presents. He stops time so he can move around people, and then they're all frozen. He can put in presents and make things appear, and then he can also sort of teleport, which allows him to turn them into this colorful little mist moves up the chimney and down or wherever he needs to go. So Santa's a little bit of a gadget head, we learn. And this helps in the story as well, because as Santa gets caught by Nick and Danny, might have said Danny. Yeah, Danny. When he gets caught, he tries to escape, bumps his head, and he's out. He didn't die, thankfully, but Nick and Danny decide they're going to take on his route to deliver all the presents to people in the world. Nick, of course, has a different plan. He plans to rob every place that he can, starting with the rich parts of town. So this is the setup for the entire rest of the movie, and a discovery of them on their joyride around the. I don't even know if they even get out of their own town at this point. They're really slow, but they take the sleigh. Nick uses the gadget to steal really odd things, like a giant, piano, and okay, you get a Stradivarius. He gets furniture and instruments and some jewelry, but jewelry doesn't need to be shrunk. So you have to pick big things in order to make the gimmick work, the special effects thing work. So that makes sense. It would have been more interesting if you had stole cars. Just, hey, look, here's a Lamborghini, boom, or a Bentley, boom. Take all those kind of high-end cars. That would have been made more sense. Literally just go into a dealership, doom, 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 take them all out, and put them in your pocket. That would have been awesome. But yeah, licensing, I think, for the cars with the car brands might have been difficult. Anyway, Along the way, and Danny discovers what his uncle's really like, and because he flies a sleigh, he doesn't go in. Nick, just disguised as Santa, goes in and robs the homes and drops off presents that are in the bag. But meanwhile, Santa wakes up to find Danny's little brother and little sister have tied him to a chair. Somehow they got a really overweight man into a chair and tied him up with Christmas lights. I don't know how that happens. They're like 5 and 10 years old. Sure. But they eventually team up, and they have to try to find a way to get Danny and Nick back so they can stop what they're doing, because he knows that Danny's on the naughty list. Nick is definitely on the naughty list forever. But can that change? That's the point of this story. But for the most part, one of the things, I want to get back to the whole Bryan Cranston subtlety thing. There's a point where he's blowing smoke up Danny's. He's basically telling, yeah, let's do the right thing, do good things. And he's very enthusiastic. And by the way, this is Bryan Cranston again. He's more in Hal mode than he is in Walter White mode, because he's very very enthusiastic, very expressive, and he's, well, not that Walter White wasn't expressive. He was definitely a Heisenberg, but the idea is that he's more comedic expressive, and he's a cool dude, man, and he overplays the cool dude thing. But when he's lying to Danny while they're in the sleigh, it's I don't know if it's just how they cut it, just at that moment when he's hey, he just turns slightly toward the camera, looks off camera, and his demeanor just drops just a tiny bit. Do you know that he knows that he's lying, and he doesn't feel horrible about it. He knows that he believes it's necessary. You got it. If you're gonna watch it for Bryan Cranston, which I'll watch anything with Bryan Cranston in it. He's one of my favorite actors of all time. But you get a chance. If you're gonna watch this, especially at Christmas time, maybe you're not gonna watch it now, but if you watch it at Christmas time, this is actually one of the better Christmas movies. It's, again, not gonna be breaking any crazy new ground, no over moralizing. Yes, there's a lesson to be learned and things like that. It's Disney, but for the most part, I think it's just a fun film, and it's fun to watch Bryan Cranston just be wild and funny. And this is a nice little showcase piece. I'm pretty sure he might want to forget about it. I met him a couple of years ago, and back in when Breaking Bad was still on, and he was sort of even down on his role in Malcolm in the Middle, and I'm like, dude, don't ever be ashamed of Hal. Hal is freaking amazing. Hal is hilarious. Don't ever degrade that work. Walter White is amazing, but embrace Hal. Hal is freaking awesome. One of the best things about Malcolm in the Middle, which is a highly underrated sitcom, and it needs to have more visibility. It was supposed to be listed on Disney Plus, but I don't think it's there. It might be on Hulu, and they never went beyond season 1 or 2 on DVD due to licensing rights with the music, I think, especially with the They Might Be Giants theme song. So I don't know. Anyway, that is Twas the Night. It's very Christmassy, but not schmaltzy Christmassy. Not a small town girl goes to big town girl in the big city goes back to her hometown in the country and then meets a carpenter and fall in love, and then there's a struggle between, that whole struggle between rich. It's the Hallmark Channel. This is not the Hallmark Channel movie. So just telling you right now, you can have fun with this, especially if you're a fan of Bryan Cranston. So let's pick tomorrow's episode. Enough of that. 739. Jeez, we're staying up in the high numbers here. 739. We did a 740 the other day. 739. I don't know what this is, but I'm guessing it's a modern-ish teenage Disney Channel movie. I don't know. I could be completely wrong. But with a name like Wendy Wu, Homecoming Warrior, Wendy Wu, Homecoming Warrior. Yeah, I'm not sure how many other things it could be. Maybe it's animated, but I have a feeling it's like a live action. She's in junior high and something with homecoming and kung fu, maybe, which sounds totally racist, but it's... Yeah, I apologize. That was... She's a warrior, and they alliterized her name, and to emphasize that she's Asian, so I think they're leaning into that. Oh well. Anyway, it might be fun. We'll check it out tomorrow on the Disney Plus Everyday Challenge. Bye.